What is up, traders? Mike from GYLD here, and welcome to our weekly market review. And before we get started, just a little heads up, we are currently running a promotion, so you can use code START50 for a 50% discount on all $5,000 challenges. So start today at gyldtrading.com. Now let's get straight to the video. Okay, so here we have the daily chart of the dollar index. And looking at previous week, we can see that we did respect the zone that we mentioned last week. So very nice to see. Upon respecting that zone, we created a new high here with this break. So we have a higher high now. And now we would need to see a pullback once again, so we can buy overall, targeting these highs over here. And looking at the 4-hour chart, we could get a pullback into some zones like these, this last bearish candle, these bearish candles. All of these zones would be great to see, but obviously there's still the possibility that we go even lower, back below these lows or these lows before we resume the bullish move up. But overall, this level is what we're working towards. All right, next up we have the euro dollar. Euro dollar, we're still looking at this particular level as our main target. Now, we've been stuck in a consolidation in the past week, so we need to see price get out of it first. Ideally, we would get a move above the previous highs here. So that's where people would have stop losses, everybody who's selling prematurely. And then we would be looking for some break of structure on the lower time frame so we can take it lower. But as of right now, within the consolidation, it's a no-go. So either we need a move up and then a break of structure below to the downside, or we would need to see some impulse down and then a pullback, right? So that's it for the euro. Next up we have the pound dollar, which I'm starting to like a little bit more because if you compare it to the euro dollar last week, euro dollar was just ranging, just consolidating. The pound dollar was barely making new lows, so it was a little bit more movement on the pound dollar, but overall still not ideal. However, we would be looking at some of these levels from the 4-hour. So we have a very nice fair value gap over here, and we have this previous high over here. So ideal scenario, we clear this high and we could either go into this zone and then get some break of structure before going lower, or we could be looking at a sweep of the previous high here and then a break of structure before we take it lower. But pound dollar is looking pretty good on the 4-hour right now, so this might be a great pair for the upcoming month. Right, so here we have the gold. Gold, we were mentioning this level over here. As we can see, price respected that and we attempted to go lower. However, we failed to make a lower low here. So this gives me the idea that we possibly might be looking at prices over or above here or here before we are to continue the move lower, if we are to do that. So ideally, we would want to see a move above here or here, and then once again a break of structure on a lower time frame before taking it lower. And obviously this on a higher time frame like the weekly, this is extremely bullish, and overall we would like to buy and keep buying for new highs. However, we would like to see some pullback before that happens. So this is the weekly time frame. It should take a while for the pullback to finish, and it's very reasonable to expect prices to go at least below this point, right? So at least below that point we would expect to be bearish short term, and then eventually once the daily or the weekly switches, we can continue the buying, right? Okay, so here we have the Bitcoin weekly. Let's go down to the daily actually. So we were mentioning these levels over here, like the fair value gaps here, these imbalances, and these order blocks, all that overall targeting this high. So we attempted to do that after the pullback. Now the pullback starts here, and then it rolls over, consolidation, and then move up. So at that point, we are expecting price to keep making new highs. So we had one attempt, we failed to make new high relative to these highs, right? And then we had a pullback and another attempt, we failed once again. In fact, this low was even lower than the previous one. So something we should have noted back then is that the buys, the longs are losing momentum. But it is what it is. And now we are headed for the previous low over here, most likely. We will have to see. Obviously, we could still be buying from these zones. We're consolidating right now. So very important to see what price does within the next days. Whether we go lower or we go above this consolidation, that will all be an important factor. But as of right now, the likely scenario is that we are headed below this low over here. Maybe fill in some of those imbalances right here. Okay, the S&P 500. So the S&P 500, pretty much nothing to talk about here. We spent the week just consolidating here. No movement, no action, nothing. So with the indexes, we're still waiting. We still need better prices. If we have pullback towards some of these zones, that would be ideal for buys. But as of right now, we're still on a standby mode. And the same goes for the Nasdaq or the US 100. We are pretty much just starting a consolidation right now. Nothing to do here on these particular time frames. So we would need to see some prices lower, right? And that is it, guys, for this week. Hope you had a wonderful month of June, and we wish you the best of luck in the month of July. Alright, guys, before we wrap this up, here is the economy calendar for the upcoming week. We are using investing.com. And something to note right away is that this is going to be the first week of a new month, and it's going to be the first week of a new quarter. And it's also, since it's the first week of a new month, there's going to be NFP on Friday, right? So this week, be a little bit more careful. Things could get hectic, but let's see what awaits us. So on Monday, we have Canada Day. Those of you trading the Canadian dollar, this would affect you. But other than that, the day seems pretty much filled with news. So this is very good to see on Monday. Mondays usually tend to be very slow and no news, but this Monday we have a lot of medium impact news. The main driver is going to be the German CPI for the Euros, which is at 8 a.m. in New York time. So New York session open. This is when the New York session and London session overlap. So this could be very good. And then we also have some manufacturing PMI for the US dollar. Those news for the New York session will be good, but they are not the highest of impact. They are not the highest drivers this week. But they are there, so that's nice to see. So on Tuesday, we have CPI for the Euros. That's going to be the main driver for the Euros this week. And it's going to be the main driver for Tuesday as well, right? And for the New York session, we have JOLTS job openings. So that's 2 hours into New York session. Other than that, nothing for Tuesday. Okay, on Wednesday, we have early close. Since Independence Day, I'm not sure if this actually affects the New York session, the early New York session. But I suppose the market should normally be open just till they're going to be closing earlier during the New York session. So we have quite a bit of news, medium impact news for the London session, and then we have ADP non-farm employment change for the New York session, followed by initial jobless claims 15 minutes after. So those are going to be the main drivers for Wednesday, New York session, and dollar focused. Also have some more news over here. Once again, not the biggest news. Okay, first day, Independence Day, so that's a bank holiday for the US. So first day, New York session likely to be very inactive. No reason to watch it at all. So other than that, we have medium impact news throughout the day. Nothing for New York session, obviously, as we stated, it's bank holiday. And for the London session, we do have some medium impact news. Nothing major. Price is very likely going to be waiting for Friday, because on Friday, during New York session, we have the non-farm payrolls, or the NFP, as it's the first Friday of the month, right? We also have the unemployment rate with that. So those are going to be extremely important this week, and those are going to be the main driving factors for the upcoming days. So be careful with that. Not recommended to trade the NFP release, but you do you. With that being said, we wish you lots of luck in the new quarter, a new month. Hopefully you found this helpful. We would appreciate any kind of feedback in the comment section, and I will be seeing you guys next week. Cheers.